Well, we're down here trying to get this old watering system working. Well, it's working, it still works. But this is just full of mud and it was full of water, so we got all the water out of it. And I'm gonna clean the mud out and see if we can get it filled up so these heifers can come over here and start using this. It hadn't been used in years. But basically it's got a float on here like a toilet tank, so it gets its water from the pond. It's got a pipe that runs through the pond over to here. When that float goes low, it fills this big tank. It's a tank that goes way back under there and up to here, and we're gonna try to see if we can get it working again. Well, I dug out a little bit more of this pond down there. Try to get the leftover water flowing out, some more of it. That mud in there is deep. I dug a little bit of what I could and it already started flowing water. Yeah, we're draining a little bit more of it off. It's pretty well dried up in there, but still got the bulk of this. I have to let it dry down a little more, and maybe I can work my way out there with the little channel and then throw a pump in or something and get it. Yeah, we'll see what this does. Well, the main project that we're working on today is we're going to be putting in an automatic water trough right over there where my dad's truck is. But while I was down here, I wanted to see if I could get this pond to drain a little bit more. So I came down here to dig this out, but I'm going to be going over there to level a pad up so we can put in an automatic watering trough. So what we got here is we got this old concrete water trough that feeds out of this pond here. And it would stop working when the pond level got so low, and I think there's something wrong with the piping. So we dug down here to try to figure out where the piping was, and we found it. It's like right down here at this base, and when we were trying to tee onto it, the pipe was so brittle it broke off, and the pipe to come into this tank comes in underneath the tank and comes up to a valve. So we're gonna have to pull the lid off of this, got to get an excavator in here, dig all this out, and then we're taking another line, trenching it over here, and they're gonna put another tire water trough right over in there where Dad's digging that trench. So that way we'll have water on that half. So that's what we're going to be working on. I'm going to level this area off up here and make a pad real quick to set this on. And we're going to put in some line. One of our main goals of putting these water troughs in is to keep the cattle out of the pond from crapping and pissing in it, making it all nasty and walking down the mud down. That way we can cut down on the pond contamination, keep them out of it. So we don't want them in there swimming in it. We want them to be out here grazing the field. So that's why we're putting in these automatic water troughs. So hopefully we'll put this one in, and maybe if we get enough fall, we may put another one farther on down, but it's probably looking like it's going to be unlikely, but we'll see. So this weekend's project, we're going to be back down here working on the automatic water trough for the cattle. And I got to fix this valve down here, and we're going to dig up the old water trough and cap it off because they're kind of obsolete. Can't really get parts for them. So I'm going to dig it up, fill the hole in, do some plumbing on it, and work on finishing up this new one. So I went and picked up the 42 at White Star with the 3-foot bucket. I'm going to dig this out here. When my dad filled this in, he thinks it might have cracked the PVC pipe down there. But anyway, I'm going to dig this up and check it. And then over here on this pond, there's a culvert pipe that ran across there. If you've seen the full-length video on YouTube, it wasn't quite long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig that up. And up there, I got a big, long, 40-foot long pipe. I'm going to dig a spot across this middle and put it and trade that 16-foot pipe for that one because I don't need a 40-foot pipe to drive across over there. So I'll swap them out, rebury it, and then right down there is the automatic water I'm going to dig up. So I'm going to start here and work on this one. All right, I found the leak here. I guess when we filled this in, the dirt cracked that line and it's leaking right there at the threads. So I'll have to pull that off and fix it. So anyway, got this spot dug out to fix. Now we're gonna go dig over here. All right, so this is the trough that I'm gonna dig up, and the pipe comes in right here. We're gonna cap it off. It's been leaking for a while too, and it runs into that pond there. So we set a new water trough there. So once we get the leak fixed up there, this one will be back working again, and then we're going to completely remove this old one and probably put in another tire one right here. So we've got a new line trenched in here to feed both these troughs off the big pond up front, and then we'll hook this old line back up as a secondary with a T on it for these other two. So I'm going to dig this up, see if I can get this old one out of here. Alright, so I got this line exposed here. So we're gonna have to sawzall that off and cap it for now. Stub up a piece of pipe or something. I don't know what we're gonna do here with this mess, but get that capped off for now at least. Put a ball valve on it. And then get this concrete deal out of here. Fill this in and go from there. We got the old trough removed. We got the line coming out of this pond here. Shut off valve on it here, and it's going to go to this PEX line. It's just going to go to right there, and we're going to put another tire water trough in here. So we got all this filled in. There's a ball valve right there under this bucket, and then that pipe's got a piece of a PEX line stubbed up there for another water trough here eventually. We didn't put it in yet, but eventually we'll put it in when this dries out a little bit. I got a valve box to go there, and I'm going to cover this up level with the valve box. But anyway, we're going to call this done. Nothing's leaking anymore, so we're going to be done with this for a while. Got this spot filled in as well. I'm going to bring this dirt on out and kind of level it up to where it's closer to the top of up there, out past the pipes, and put the valve box there on those pipes, and fill in the dirt around it once this dries out. But the pond's back full again, and this one's not as full, but it's getting there. So anyway, we're going to call this part fixed, and it's not leaking anymore, so that's good. Maybe this spring we'll put another tire water trough in down there, but it's already nearing the end of October. So there's our cover crop. Pretty good. Well, I got this culvert all put in and all the dirt packed around it. We finally got a big rain, and it pretty well filled that pond and overflowed it. This all stayed pretty good where I leveled it and brought in a bunch more dirt because it was about right here and sloped off. And I'll widen this out. So now that this trench is here, I'm going to go to the rock quarry and get a bunch of riprap rock and line that trench there. And then put some on the front side over here around this part. So that pipe did pretty good. I think it kept up with the rain, but it wasn't a super hard rain. But nothing ran over the top of the dam, so that's good. I may build this up just a hair more, but I don't know. I think it's pretty well good. Right there where it's low, where that puddle is, and then on around need to come up some more, but I think this is pretty well good. And then there's a low spot kind of right there. May get some more, but anyway, got that done. So we'll be ready this spring when it gets a lot of rain through here. Hopefully, I may end up and have to trim out a spillway over there and line it with some rock. We'll see how it does. So we're working on the Valtra A95 tractor, and I had a pretty bad hydraulic leak out of this high shift box, which is what engages the clutch on one of these seals, but I got that fixed. But the main issue we started having was the hydraulic reservoir, which is right here, sits on top of the transmission, and they're separate. So the transmission has its own oil fill right here, and then the hydraulic right here. So what was happening after this thing would run for a minute, it started dumping all the hydraulic oil into the transmission, and it was overflowing out of the transmission on these little brake pod vents here. So if anybody has any idea on what would cause this to happen, let me know. Well, we ended up not getting the tractor fixed like we thought, so we're gonna end up and have to take it in to a dealer that's pretty far away to get it fixed. So unfortunately, that's where we're at with it. So we finally figured out what was causing the issue, and there's this hydraulic tank here and then the transmission down there. And what's happening is the four-wheel drive shaft that comes out of here and goes into the transmission, there's a clutch in there that's hydraulically driven to engage it, and there's seals around that clutch. So those seals have deteriorated or something, and it's allowing the hydraulic fluid to get right into the transmission, and that's where it's going. So in order to fix it, it's gonna have to be split here, taken in half. You have to pull like part of the transmission out and get it fixed that way. So we're gonna take it to Livingston Machinery. They used to be a Valtra dealer back in the day when they had them here in the US. So they tell us they can fix it, and to figure out what was causing the issue, I talked to a guy in Finland. So he said that was the issue, and talked to the guys at Livingston. They kind of agreed. But anyway, we got the loader mounting brackets off. Got the bracket off over here. Went ahead and pulled the loader joystick and everything out, and got the hydraulic hoses routed up for the loader back here, tucked in. So maybe that'll save them some time on those, getting that all pulled off. But anyway, I'm gonna get this loaded up and we're gonna get down the road. I got her loaded up, chained down. Should be good to go. Make our little hot shot run down to Parallel Ag. Hopefully be back by dark. See how it goes. Now I think we're just gonna leave that one here and bring this fent back in its place. I think this one's 314, so it's about 135 horsepower, 140. Well, I got the tailgate repainted on the Bobcat. Got some new decals and new lights to put on it. So I'll let that cure for a couple days. Go ahead and put the decals on it when we're finished. Look a lot better now. Painted the cylinder lockout deal over there too. So anyway, make it look a little better because it was getting pretty faded out and looking kind of pinkish. Alright, so we're putting this new black decal on here, and this is a tip number 2. The first decal I got was all wrinkly. When I started laying it down, it had little lines in it, and it just looked bad, so I got really mad and just ripped it off. Probably could have sent it back to Bobcat and had them replace it because of how it was rolled up, but they probably wouldn't have believed me since I just ripped it off. But anyway, I went ahead and cut these out first so I could align it. And this sticker came pretty good. There's no lines in it. I'll show you in a minute what I mean by the little lines in it. But from being rolled up, I think calls it to crease. But this one's nice and smooth on the transfer paper. So I cut these out, got it lined up, and started peeling this off. I cut the paper here and here on the back side and got it lined up here first. And now I'm just rolling the backing of the decal off as we go and kind of laying it down with this card, smoothing it out. So we'll see how it goes. So this is what I was talking about with all these little crinkly lines in here from it being rolled up. So you can see all these lines. It really messed up the decal. And it had all these little lines and cracks all in it, made it look like crap. So whoever stores the decals needs to quit rolling them up and leave them out flat. I even let this set with some books and stuff on it for a while. So hopefully this one will go on okay. So see what I mean, where those creases were in the paper, you can't get these bubbles out. It just looks like garbage. Probably end up and peel those off and redo it again. Have somebody cut this for me on a vinyl machine where I can pick it up and the sticker's flat, because this just looks like crap. Looks good from 15 feet away. Well, today's project is I'm fixing the sill on the Rhino bat wing. There's a sill behind this guard plate here that's leaking. Gotta pull that one out and put a new one in. So pretty straightforward. Everything came off pretty easy. Get the stump jumper over there. It came off, and surprisingly, that plug came out of there no problem. But it is brass, so it wasn't seized up. Anyway, this when we got this thing, it had that big like double aught grease in it. So I figured that's why it was in there, because the seal was leaking. But I've sucked all that grease out of there and put fresh gear oil in it, and it started leaking. And this is the culprit here, so I'm going to replace it so we can keep the gear oil in there instead of that nasty double aught grease. So anyway, jerk this seal out and put the new one in. That'd be the culprit right there. I'll let it set for about an hour, nothing leaked out of it, so we're gonna call it fixed. Put this sealed guard back on there, put the blade carrier back on there, and bolt it down.